Thank you so much. And yes, I've got the directions. I'll keep it short. 10 minutes is what it's difficult to ask a professor to limit the session for 10 minutes. We are used to 2 hours, but still, I will follow the timelines. And yes, my previous speakers have spoken what I was to speak on that. And kudos to TERI Alma Mater. Nishtha was there, and wonderful to hear. Nishtha from Suzlon. Okay. So she is a proud alma mater, like alumni of TERI SAS, where I teach. So wonderful to see students going places. And I think let's look at more from a philosophical perspective. So just quick session. The world we live in, as you can see the slide here, the world we live in is very different than the world we grew up in. I think all of us here, sitting here, would agree. So the world we grew up in was very different. The problem of climate change, I think we are very well-informed cohort here. I see passionate advocates of sustainability here. So I think you would second what I say. The problems related to climate change, the problems related to geopolitics, the problems related to inequality were not there in the world we grew up in. So when we look at the problems, last year, 2023, was Delhi faced the hottest summer in 2,000 years. 2024 even topped that. And they say next 4 to 5 years, 45 to 50 degree will be the new normal. So you will feel 2023 was a mild year. That's the problem which we are facing. Now, in the problem, what we are facing, I think this resonates with all of you. So when we look at this quote, reminds me, and it says, Albert Einstein says, this is not related to climate change though. He says we cannot solve our problems by using the thinking we used when we created them. So the problems all of us are dealing with today requires a different kind of thinking. And this is the World Economic Forum risk report from the business perspective. If you look at the risks here, the short-term risks which the businesses will be facing, the recent 2 years risk, and the long-term risk, which is the 10 years when you look at the risk. The short-term risk talks about, first, of course, misinformation and disinformation, and second is extreme weather events. Now, the impact of climate change, or when we say catastrophe of climate change, this is something where, you cannot look out of the window and say that, yes, there is climate change which is happening. It's when the frequency of the weather events increases is what we feel that there is a problem which has impacted us. So look at May 2024, what happened in Brazil. Look at India. In 2022, we lost $159 billion only due to extreme climate weather events. Last year, the first 9 months, according to the report of Center for Science and Environment, there were 3,000 lives which were lost only in India due to extreme weather events. So that's the seriousness what we are talking about. This is the report which I was saying, the Center of Science and Environment report. Almost 3,000 human deaths, 1.84 million crop areas affected, 80,000 house damaged, and almost a lakh of animal deaths is what we are talking about. So there is a GDP impact of 4 to 5% every year when we look at the impact of climate change. And this from an Indian perspective. So a lot of us have spoken about solutions. There's a lot of work which is happening. Public-private partnership, companies are doing excellent work. I saw what Suzlon was doing. There's a lot of initiatives which have happened. But why then only 18% of the SDG goals were achieved last year? If you look at India's ranking, the recent ranking in SDGs, it's 106 out of 166 countries. So our India ranking is 106. So we have done everything possible. If you look at SDG goals, when we look at SDG goals, what brings us to 106, where we are doing everything? So that is a thing which we need to discuss in forums like this when we have such evolved cohorts sitting there. Yeah. So to talk about the goals, to talk about the recent emission gap report which has come in, which talks about that completely the world is in a state of inaction. So it's more of a behavioral challenge rather than a technical or a financial challenge, I must say. Yes, that's what they say. The challenges are technical, financial, and behavioral, but the behavioral challenge tops it all. So the challenge of climate change, we say, is so huge that suddenly you see state of inaction. Though we are in a run-up of COP29, but still you see an inaction in terms of policies, and that is what we need to highlight here. So let's look at the seriousness of a problem. This is planetary boundaries. This was a concept which came in 2009. There were 28 scientists which worked on, and they say if our ecosystem needs to function well, these 9 things should work in order. They should work in sync with each other. Then only our ecosystem would function well. And these 9 planetary boundaries, the most we talk about is carbon dioxide concentration. So carbon dioxide concentration, radiative forcing is what most we talk about. We breached this boundary in year 1988. So when you talk about the carbon dioxide concentration, which is 250 parts per million is allowed, currently we are at 388. So we have already breached it way back. Biosphere integrity. Biosphere integrity, we say, is the species who can go extinct every year. It's allowed 100 species per million can go extinct every year. We have breached the boundary, more than 1,000 species are being extinct every year. And that's what ecological imbalances. We've breached the boundaries. Land system change, forest, we all know what kind of land system change boundaries which we have used. Fresh water change, where we look at the fresh water, the green water, blue water. Biogeochemical flows, the phosphorus cycle, nitrogen cycle, which is very important for our survival. We have breached that. The only 3 boundaries we are working in limit is atmospheric aerosol loading, stratosphere ozone depletion, and ocean acidification. Stratosphere ozone depletion, we breached this boundary, but then collectively all of us work to bring it back into order. So there is hope when we see. Currently, 2023, we have breached 6 out of 9 boundaries. Now, what happens when you breach these boundaries? Which means you reach at a point of no return. We will be talking about tipping points. We celebrate World Environment Day, I think it's April 22, every year. We talk about saving our planet. I mean, I think in a lot of forums we spoke about the planet does not need to be saved. It is us as species which need to be saved. So there is this concept I think we all need to look at, which is Earth Overshoot Day. Now, Earth Overshoot Day is the day in a year where Earth uses all the biosphere reserves given to it, allotted to it for a year. And if you see this research from 1971 to 2023, in 1971, we were using the budget, biosphere budget given to us for that year. So in December, the Earth Overshoot Day was. Look at 2023. 2023, it came on 2nd August, which means we used all the biosphere reserves given to us for the year in August to 2nd August. This year, it fell on 1st August. So rather than moving the date or pushing the date, we are moving forward. Currently, we are surviving on 1.75 Earth. When you look at India, the problem becomes more serious because 18% of the population living in 2% of the land. And that makes it us the resource when you look at resource constraint. And that's a problem which leads us to a point of no return, which is known as tipping points. And we need to know what are tipping points. For our planet to function well, there are critical points which help our planet function properly. You know, when we talk about the La Ninas and El Ninos or change in the climate pattern, or when we talk about the delayed rainfall, there was a comment by CEO of Varun Beverage last year, where he said that the delay in rainfall pattern has started impacting the bottom line of the companies. And this is where, when you look at the urgency or the seriousness of climate change, how does it impact our businesses? So there are 24 tipping points, out of which 16 are in danger. So if you look at, you know, I would not get into the science of it, but if you look at the North Pole and South Pole, if you look at how do they regulate the way we function, there is permafrost, there are other, when you talk about the boreal forests, which help us maintaining our ecosystem. And currently, when you look at all these things which help you to maintain your ecosystem, if they are tipped, you will reach at a point of no return. So there is a perspective. There are differences in the way you look at things. So here is a perspective. There's somebody who looks at the erratic weather and it says the weather is crazy. And there is somebody who looks at the cause, the root cause, and it says, yes, it's crazy. So we just need to change the perspective. This is what I feel. Climate change, I think my previous speakers have also spoken about. This is an IPCC 6th assessment report, and they talk about climate change as a systemic risk, where I think Nishtha spoke about physical risks and transition risks to the businesses. Businesses are one of the most vulnerable entities. Where you look at the physical impact of climate change, you can see the sea level rise. 0.3 to 0.6 meter at 1.5 degrees centigrade. I think we have already crossed that thing and now we are aiming for 2 degrees. So you will see a 0.4 meter rise in sea level, which means parts of Mumbai, parts of Chennai would submerged in water, maybe in 10 years from now. So that's the seriousness we're talking about. Sundarbans completely submerged in water. The problem of migrants, climate migrants is what we call them. So problems are galore, and this is how the simulation looks like if we don't control the temperature. The climate, the frequency of climate events would increase. The climate catastrophe would increase. Since we are talking from the healthcare perspective, this is what IPCC 6th assessment report says, that how is the change in climate impacting our health. And that's what they talk about from the health aspect. They talk about climate-related hazards in terms of extreme weather events, heat, sea level rise, air pollution, new vector-borne diseases. All these things have been normalized. There has been vulnerability. There's been climate vulnerability index due to increase in the temperature, increase in the humidity. So all of these things of malnutrition, mental health and anxiety, all of these things have been health-related risks due to climate change. And that's what people like Antonio Guterres, who was Secretary of UN General, he says, we are on a highway to climate hell with 1 foot on accelerator, and we need to change the way we do business. So what I feel is the major ethical questions we need to ask ourselves, that businesses are the one who are most vulnerable to climate change impact. So what kind of responsibilities do we have? We talk about sustainability reporting. I work very closely with SEBI in BRSR, Business Responsibility Sustainability Reporting, which has come up from the BRR, because Indian companies, we find loophole in everything. So rather than, when we talk about sustainability, there is an intention to action deficit is what we see. So everybody wants to practice sustainability, but then very few do. So why is this? There is an intention to action deficit. I feel sustainability is a very broad term. Sustainability is more philosophical in nature, meeting your present needs without taking care of, with meeting your current needs without compromising the needs of future generation. It's more philosophical, very broad. And that is why we see that, you want to practice sustainability, but you don't know how to. And that's where came in ESG. I think very nicely Nishtha has mentioned about what ESG is, but ESG helps you show a guide, helps you handhold you, how do you practice sustainability in an organization. So it's that analytical framework of non-financial parameters which has the maximum financial impact. So I would say business is the only mechanism in the planet today powerful enough to make the changes necessary. This is what Paul Hawkins said, that the current crisis is due to the way businesses used resources mindlessly, but then the solution lies with businesses only. And what kind of thinking do we need to use when you look at it business? There is a thinking which we say as systems thinking approach, where we say that, the outcome is not the sum of the parts, but it is the product of interdependencies. And that is why in sustainability, we celebrate partnership, we celebrate collaborations, because we feel we are all interdependent on each other, and survival, our survival is linked. So when you look at systems thinking approach, it says that businesses, in order to survive, they have to align with the society or community they operate in and the environment. So you are a subsidiary of society and environment. environment and society is where we live in, and development is what we do in order to survive. So unless and until whatever you do is not aligned to the society and environment, you would not be sustainable. So that's it. We were not able to survive, or businesses were facing challenges because they were working the other way around. And what we need to do is, we need to shift from the way we do business to a more regenerative method. The extractive nature of business, which is take, make, and waste, has to be now looked at it from more circular way, more restorative and regenerative way. And how to do is where your sustainable development goals, which are 17 sustainable development goals with 169 targets and 238 indicators, show you the way where businesses can follow and achieve a more restorative and regenerative development. I will rest my slides here because of the time limit of 10 minutes, but it was a pleasure interacting with you. Thank you so much.